Alright guys, welcome back. Ndindi Nyoro yesterday on interview with some Kitugu on the Citizen TV. Ndindi Nyoro disclosures about something very critical, that G2G is not something to deal with government to government. It was government that is now dealing with the elite political player in this country. Just take 1 or 2 minutes and listen to Ndindi Nyoro. I'm coming back to talk about it.
Conversations. In those internal conversations, was the issue of G2G ever discussed?
Never, ever.
Nobody saw anything wrong with it?
In the meetings that I attended,
yeah.
Remember in the budget committee, we had nothing to do with G2G.
Even in your parliamentary group meetings, I mean your National Assembly, aren't you?
I don't remember anywhere that it needed my very close input, that it actually came, unless I have forgotten, but I don't remember.
I'm asking that because, if you may recall, in the year 2023, the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga spoke against G2G. Of course, there are those that were in government that came out and condemned the statements that he had made. Nobody ever saw any sense in the questions being raised, or to even go and find out what's the truth?
Do you want to know the truth after that?
Go ahead.
I want you to do some retro homework. You check the companies that were under G2G up until the protests of 2024. And then you check the companies that were added after the protests and after the current handshake. Then you realize why that discussion never progressed, even from the voices that earlier had them. The handshake was beyond political. It is also in G2G. You will also find companies under G2G that belongs to the other side of the handshake. They were incorporated as a political settlement after the protests. And that is why I find sometimes us as leaders being very insensitive. The issues that Kenyans raised, they were put in the shelf. The political elite went into boardrooms, cut deals, and that was it. So that's the homework I have given you. Please, once you find out, I request you humbly air to the viewers on the companies that were added and the owners of those companies.
That's a lot of homework when the teacher is present. Because if you are to go back to the conversations around G2G and the arrangement, it was said that the IOCs, the international companies, were free to nominate their local OMCs, local oil marketing companies. And they appointed Gulf Energy, Galana, and Oryx. That's what we knew.
Okay, go ahead. Which other companies are involved?
No, you tell me. Because you're saying that this changed.
You seem to have even so much information.
No. This is what we know because we covered it.
Some?
Yeah.
That's what you hear. Because the person telling you is the beneficiary. Some, we have interacted, and you know that I rarely say anything that I cannot defend during daylight. I want to repeat for avoidance of doubt. G2G is pure grade 1 political patronage, and the leadership of this country benefits directly from G2G.
The leadership owns a company or what?
You do your homework. I have seen you have done enough. I know you know what you're even asking.
No, I don't know. I'm asking you questions.
So dig deep.
And you provide the answers.
Yeah.
But then, so is there a solution? Because Parliament is a house of representatives of the people. Is there a solution through Parliament?
For the economy or oil?
On this
on G2G.
If G2G is political patronage,
yes,
that's taking advantage of Kenyans.
Pure.
So what is the solution through Parliament?
We'll do what we should as individual members to call for a probe and to also compel the government to open up the sector to real market dynamics. Remember, the reason why markets exist is to give the consumer the best deal.
Yeah.
When you close the market and the dealers in there, it means there is no competition. It means the end user will always be taken advantage of. But in terms of the fuel prices, Parliament has a field day to project to Kenyans that we are real representatives of the people. And I call upon Parliament, where I sit, that yes, I know the House has been reduced to phone calls, but on such a matter, we must redeem ourselves. We must do the right thing. And it's not just a matter of following Ndindi Nyoro's proposals. Let all the other members of Parliament come up with their own proposals. Let's go with the best.
Guys, before we dive in case this is your first time coming across us, kindly please take a minute or two, click that subscribe button, then allow notification buttons to be on. Whenever we shall be producing a video like this one, YouTube will automatically be giving you a notification. We all understand that whatever is happening in this country pertaining the pricing of oil, pertaining the high price of oil, is something that is now drawn to G2G. G2G, it was something like government to government arrangement that was initially, or rather, that was expected to deal with the oil importation, oil refinery, and oil selling in this country. But now, what is now coming up, what is emerging, is something that is giving Kenyans sleepless night. That these oil companies, everything that you are witnessing in oil sector, it's something to do with just people. It's not something to do with G2G. And I'm very sure in negotiation of G2G is government that is speaking to government. And the definition of government, as we all understand, is the people by the people. But now, in Kenya, politicians are interpreting it the other way. They are taking it to be the people by it. They are taking it to be now the politician by the politician. And this is something that's now bringing the high cost of living in this country. The other day we saw how Rigathi Gachagua alluded to it, that William Samoei Ruto alone is getting roughly is it 32 shillings per every liter as a profit? Sure, every liter. Why can't we even take 10 shillings? I think it's a lot. A day, people just buy a lot of oil in this Republic of Kenya. Why can't this jamaa reduce to hata shilingi 5? That's a big profit. But now we are suffering as Kenyans, not because that the prices of oil is high, but because the people that are now controlling these prices are not controlling the prices. These people are in business. And now this G2G, it's something very juicy. It's something that these leaders are now getting a lot of profit from the expenses of you Kenyans, from the expenses of you common mwananchi. The best thing that can be done there, let's now demand for them to disclosure the content of G2G. Which company are they benefiting? When Raila Amolo Odinga aliguzia kidogo akavuta kwa government akanyamaza, which sweetness is it in this G2G deal? Let it be disclosure to Kenyans. Pia sisi tujue which company wanafanyaje. And now something that we all also ought to understand is the pricing scheme of it. We are talking about this ikiisha, we are now drifting to start to talk about finance bill. So, and Kenyans should not be fooled so that the finance bill can be passed when we are busy dealing with the oil prices. We should also deal with this thing both. Let them disclosure this G2G. We cannot say that it is government by government, yet the Kenyans are suffering. The cost of living is very high. You cannot even survive with some amount in Kenya. Little amount like 10,000 per month. It's like a 500. So if the cost of life is increasing, the people that sign this G2G, are they enjoying now? This is not something that we are taking it lightly. We also need to take it seriously. Kenyans to demand, Kenyans to even sort the demand through the court to know what is the content of this G2G, to understand why Raila was crying. Immediately he joined that G2G akatulia. Which profit are they getting from the expenses of Kenyans? Kenyans are suffering. It is sad that mtu wa kwako anaumia na wewe unafurahia. That is very bad. Let's go to the proposal of Ndindi Nyoro. Let's know when this parliament itatoka recess, what will they do? Will they jump in to discuss the finance bill, or will they sit down again to do what? To deal with this issue of oil? Let us try and see. Today is Friday. The 7 days ultimatum is just remaining 3 days to eat. Let's try and see. Will these people go back to street, or rather the meeting that they had with President Ruto, kila mtu alipewa ka profit kake from that G2G, akasema okay, wacha tuachane na hii mambo. Let's wait and see how things is going to unfold. And with that, guys, what is your thought on it? Drop it in comment section. I'll be doing my best to read it and giving you a response. And with that, peace and love.